What's going on, everybody? This your boy King Gabe here with the review of Depth Charge. Another one of the maximals here that's just been recently added to my Beastwars collection. And this really brings back memories. This is the Depth Charge that was actually released in the original Beastwars 90s toy line, and I gotta say, this is one of the best show accurate '90s Beast Wars toys that I have seen. There's probably I think there's possibly some others too, from the Beast Wars line, like the regulars and the transmetals and all that. But this is actually one of the most accurate. I mean, look at that. From all That is a great design. And the funny story, when I actually had him as a kid, I actually did not know what kind of animal he was supposed to be. He's actually a manta ray, but I didn't know that as a kid. But but when I got him, I was like, it looks cool. So that was pretty much reason enough there. Now, of course, you do have a little bit of kibble, not really a whole lot, other than the robot mode arms, which you do see. They kind of also pose as thrusters for his alt mode, because like all the transmetals, they got alt modes. So he got like these little thrusters here, which actually, like I mentioned about the most show accurate thing, there were a few scenes where he was in beast mode, not his alt mode, but just in beast mode, and these thrusters were actually visible. Sort of like his nemesis Rampage, the big crab transformer. How there were scenes where I think it was in season 3 where Rampage was in beast mode, not his tank mode, and that little cannon that he has in both tank and robot mode was visible in his beast mode, and he even fired from it there. So that's actually a interesting feat there, of the accuracy. Yep, got his little mouth here, which also serves as a launcher for his, as Cheetor called them, the power pizzas. And he even fired those in his beast and alt mode there, both and I think he also did it in robot mode too. Mostly in robot mode, he would use his blaster here. Sometimes he had 2 of them there. But I think he did do fire from here in his robot mode a few times there. But mostly he used his blasters or the little weapon that's attached to his, that's also part of his tail there. That was basically what he used. And also, as typical kid imagination fashion, I would also even imagine him having even more firepower from little areas like this here. Yeah. And also like a laser attack and stuff like that there. As you can see here, he even got his name written on him, Depth Charge. A lot of them did have that on there. If you take a look at a lot of the '90s toys, like Transmetal Rat Trap, he has his name on there. Possibly, I think Transmetal Cheetor might possibly have his name on there. But I know Optimus Primal did, the Transmetal one, as Phaelus say, the gorilla on a skateboard. So, yep, they would do that. Put their names on them. I guess in case you went looking for them, you could say like, "Hey, I'm looking for Depth Charge." Overall wise, mostly his tail is the only thing that has some movement in this mode there. As you can see, I'll raise it up a little bit. Yep, as well as you can move these into any position like that. So I have this going. They almost even and because he's a manta ray, yeah, there were a lot of scenes where he'd be underwater in his beast mode there, so that's kind of why he got these. But they sort of, in a way, you could almost make these paths for plane wings there, or possibly like just wings in general there, the way they're positioned. So speaking of that, let's get him transform into his alt mode and also show you a little gimmick that he has in the alt mode, which he can also do in beast mode, but he did this more so in his secondary alt mode there. So he may have did it in beast mode too, but yeah, I think he did it more so in what we're about to show you. You just basically, like I just did, just do that, turn it like that, get that adjusted, and then the same with the other. Yeah, there we go. And that's stuff like that. And you pretty much got his alt mode there. He's supposed to be like a flyer. This would allow him to fly. So in beast mode, yeah, he's mostly in the water. So he transformed to this mode a lot in order to be airborne and stuff like that whenever he wasn't in the water. And this is where the thrusters came in there. Yep. So yeah, he had that going. At first when I saw this, I kind of thought he was more, I didn't realize that was a flight mode there. I thought this was more like maybe him rolling around or something like that. Anyway, for a little gimmick, first of all, even in both the beast and this mode, you can put this right here. It's not a perfect fit in there, but the reason I'm showing that is because there's been a few scenes where he would have this underneath him in both of the modes, especially beast mode when he was like, you know, looking for something underwater. And in the beast mode, this would sort of detach from him and sort of be sort of like a little scout, little scouting drone there, sort of like Red Wing that Falcon has in the MCU before he became Captain America. So yeah, that's what that was here. And now if you open this up, you can take these right here, the power pizzas, as Cheetor called them. And what I usually do, now you can just, you know, now you're supposed to put them all in there to ready to fire. Now if you want to do this, you can. This is because it actually works better if you do it this way. Put one in like this into his mouth, and then take the rest of them and put them like so. Kind of make sure they're lined up like this. That way, you know, they'll be able to fire. They'll be able to launch out decently. There we go. Just put one more, like so. There we go. Close that up, and you're gonna take his fin right here. That's what's gonna launch him. And you're gonna pull back on it. When you pull back on it, it does this. And I'm gonna have to get some of them from under the dresser they just rolled under. As soon as I'm done with this, but yeah, you got an idea. That's he would launch the power pizzas. Hey, take it easy with the power pizzas. So, all right. So that's pretty much what his little gimmick was there. So let's get him transformed into robot mode. Depth charge, maximize, which is much better from here. I don't know why in his first appearance he was in robot mode and said depth charge maximize and went to beast mode. It seemed like that was kind of an error there, and I think Optimus Primal made that mistake too. He was already in robot mode and he said maximize to go into flight mode. So what you want to do, let's take that. It's going to form into his legs. Get the feet out here. Same with the other. And then you're going to raise that up again. This way. And also, as you're doing that, detach and you probably want to kind of just maneuver the fins to get them out of the way, to get all this, and then once you get all this adjusted, then the fins, save the fins for last there. Let's see. Oh yeah, take that. This is kind of a little tricky there. Oh, here we go. Kind of work it over this head here, like so. And then we're going to come down here and get the torso fixed up here. Like that. And then you're going to get this down, turn this whole assembly around. Oh, and what you probably want to do is get his robot mode arms out the way. Go on and, yeah, handle that there. You might have to move the fins just a little bit as you're moving the stuff around here. Kind of straighten that up. Yeah, they kind of just sort of be moving things around as you're getting them transformed there. He's not really difficult there. It's just kind of maneuvering the different parts is all there. Especially this part of it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Got his arms in place. Then you're going to take that whole assembly, turn that around. Bring his torso in, connect right there. Kind of raise that up. And they got his legs. And let's get I'm going to change these. Matter of fact, I'm going to leave this like this for right now. There's something I want to mention about that. Going to flip his head into place. Neat head sculpt. And then the only thing left is you basically just fold these in like that, and like so. There you have him. Depth charge in his robot mode, and he is very top heavy. He's a cool figure. Definitely, like I say, still think he's a cool figure and all, but he's really top heavy. And it's really impossible for him to stand unless you take this tail and sort of do that there. Yeah, that's about the only way you're going to get him to stand, because he's got so much kibble on the back. And this is accurate too to the show. He had this kibble in the TV show, because there's a lot of times he's been in robot mode and he had all this plus the tail just flapping around. So this guy had to be really strong in the show to carry all this backpack around and be able to fight. This had to be one strong dude here. So, as for the reason for these right here, I mentioned before, they are the thrusters for his flight mode. When I was a kid, I used to pretend that he would shoot a laser from these when he had them like this there. Like, yes. So basically, to get the hands out, I just wanted to mention that before I switched them out with his robot mode hands there. Yeah, you basically just open that up, tuck that in like that. So now you got his regular fists there. So articulation wise, he can move his head all the way around. 360. And he can move a little bit, but he's got these fins in the way. I guess I would say you could do that here, but yeah, it's still. Let's see this. Okay, I guess if you do that, but yeah. So yeah, if you pull this down back here and the fins like that, you can get some sort of a torso movement there. And just put those back in place here. So, okay, that's something there. He can move the legs up and down, bend at the knee. You can definitely, like I say, do like that. And excuse me, the one of these is just kind of bent a little bit. I think that's a result of the packaging, not from the person I got it from, but I think that's a result of when it came through the packaging. But like I said, that's a little minor thing. Trust me, it could have been. Yeah, that's is a for that to be the only little thing. Hey, it could have been worse there. So yeah, at least everything else is in order. So yeah, like I say, use that to hold them up. As for weapon wise, there, got his little blaster. It would have been nice if his toy came with two of these, because there was some episodes he had two of these things there, and would be firing them, sort of like how Rhinox has those chain gun things, and he has two of those there. So basically, these right here. Let's see, just put your fingers like that right here, and hang on. Okay, come on, stand back up. And basically, what you're gonna do, push in, and you fire. Yep. And that's how you fire the missiles. So yeah, so you could definitely tell this is a '90s toy with the gimmicks. Yep, sort of like Turbo Man. It's Turbo time! Although I guess technically this guy would be more like a Megazord in here. And as for another weapon, which is attached to his tail, all you do, come back here and detach this. Like so. And you can still use the rest of the tail to hold him up. The whole tail can come off like that if you want to do that, but I would advise you to keep it on, especially if you're trying to stand him up there. So yeah, you might want to keep that on so he doesn't fall when especially if you're displaying him there. So take that, and you just put in any of his hands there. You can switch the hands here if you want there. If you want them to hold them in the opposite hands there, and that would be his little kind of sword there. Yep. So yeah, he had that going there. So yeah, so that's Depth Charge there. Like I say, not a whole lot there, but like I say, real cool toy. Really play. I know I really played with him a lot in the '90s, and obviously gonna be playing with him now, as they say in Cat Dog, when he's like, "What are you gonna do? Play with it? What else?" So, yep, that's Depth Charge with the tough guy, the Maximal. He was the one. He's like he was the one when he first appeared in the show. They was like, this sector has been deemed I guess illegal by the High Council. Slag the High Council. He did not give a crap there. Like, it came up, Optimus sort of had to get on his case one time when he was asking him about Cheetor in that episode when Cheetor became a Transmetal 2. He's like, "You call for me? I want to know what happened to Cheetor on that mountain, and I mean what really happened. You called me in here for that? Ask the cat." "I'm asking you." "Then you're wasting your time." And Optimus had to just shove him to the wall. "Look here, hothead. Cheetor is missing, and I think you know something. So either you tell me the information, or I'm going to extract it out of your core processor." "Well, since you act so nicely." Oh boy. And he sure enough was wanting to go after, and he sure enough had a big beef with Rampage there. Not that I could blame him though. So yeah, because Rampage was a pretty bad dude there. So yeah, it kind of makes sense to have somebody that really wanted to just, as he went by his protoform name, X there. So yeah, so that's Depth Charge, everybody. It's a really cool the really cool bad boy Maximal there. So, yep. Like what you saw and everything, and how cool he looks. Go pick you up one, and also make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and Definitely get our available books, as certain someone say, books. Support us on that Patreon, just like the Iceman Universe, and also check out some of his stuff there by the full length his full length reaction videos by supporting him as well. Hey Arnold, Ed Daddy, Naruto, and One Piece, and also Courage the Cowardly Dog. Definitely support the Miracle Crew, Queen Tina, Big Sis Casey, and of course EJ the Supreme. And also hang out with us in the live streams, Discord, Facebook, and let's sell each other some stuff on the Macari app, just like someone sold me this. So, until next time, we'll see you later. Dip charge. Maximize! You're already in robot mode. Shut up! Okay, never mind.